When Jeep launch a new car in the UK, we often don't take that much of notice of it because it tends to be okay. But I suspect this one is going to be a little bit different. Why? Well, it's one of the smallest Jeeps that's ever been launched. Secondly, it's the first Jeep ever that's completely electric. It's so American that it isn't going on sale in America, and it's made in Poland. Oh, and it's just won European Car of the Year 2023. So I think we should give the new Jeep Avenger a little bit of our attention, given that it's supposed to be able to do 250 miles on one charge. I'm Jonny Smith. Welcome to the Late Break Show. This episode is proudly supported by blackcircles.com, Britain's largest online tyre retailer, providing a comprehensive click and fit service. Talking of names, I'm not going to dwell on this. There is only one Avenger to me, the Hillman Avenger, the car that started my fascination for cars because it was our Shonky family car for years. But there's also been another Mopar Avenger in the past. I think in the mid-2000s there was a Dodge Avenger which made its way on sale in the UK, and it's the only car I can think of in living memory where there was a bog-off offer buying one. You bought one, you got one free. I kid you not, I will look it up. I'm not lying. But anyway, it's just a name. What's the car really like? Well, as a piece of design, what they've done is they've taken the platform as part of the Stellantis group. Bearing in mind, Stellantis owns a number of brands, Fiat, Jeep, Citroën, Peugeot, there's Vauxhall, there's loads and loads of them. The underpinnings of this, or certainly at least the main part of the chassis, is shared with cars like the Vauxhall Mocha, the Citroën EC4, which I thought was a fantastic car. I did a review of that. I'll put that link above my head now. But it's made it slightly more off-roady. Raised ground clearance, some 200 mil or 230 mil where the battery is, and a wading depth of 230 mil as well. So it sits a little bit higher. Is it ever going to go off-road? Well, that's up to you, the person that buys it. But Jeep have said it's still capable of doing things. It's got an enormous amount of different drive modes, which we'll come on to in a minute. But specifically, when you are going to go into the urban jungle, all the extremities are plastic, not body-coloured paint. So all the wheel arches, look down the side here, all the way around the corner. These pronounced, and when you look down the side of the car, you can see this bit here. This bit here is really pronounced, this sort of spine, this plastic spine. It's taken the idea of the Citroën Cactus, if you remember the Cactus with its protective door covers, so that car doors will open onto it and probably catch that before they catch the paint, which is quite cool. You've got these trapezoidal shaped wheel arches, which is something that we've seen on numerous Jeeps before. A good amount of gap between arch and tyre, just to give it that elevated look, but also some off-road capability. This particular car, I've just noticed this, because this is the launch edition, it's got a couple of little motifs. See the Jeep, the little headlights and the grille, it's on the front grille as well, there's one of these logos. And this is on, let's have a look, what are we on? It's on 18s, yeah, 215, 55, 18-inch wheels. And these are actually all-season tyres. And talking of tyres, this video is supported by blackcircles.com, Britain's largest online tyre retailer. You can put your registration number in on their website. It will bring up a whole selection of tyres that's suitable for your car and also your budget. Let's have a look down here. So there's creases above the wheel arches, then a big crease that goes down the side. And this is quite a neat touch. I don't know if you can see it in this light, but the arch goes into this other crease. They kind of come in together. So it's actually quite an elegantly designed car, I think. Quite styled quite tastefully. It's not fussy. There's a lot of fussy modern car styles that go on these days, and it is a bit annoying. Jeep have tried to keep it simple. You can order this in this launch edition as this colour, which I'm going to look up because I can't remember what it's called. It's called Sun Orange. So you can order it with Sun Orange with a volcano black roof. You can order it in all black, volcano, or you can order it in graphite, which is obviously grey with the volcano roof, and there's some similar colours going on inside. Come around the back, and do you remember the Renegade had the cross rear lights, really distinctive tail lights? And apparently that design comes from a Jerry fuel can. Well, this has another play on that kind of X inside the Avengers rear light cluster. They stick out quite far, but again, they kind of got this gloss black surround. I like it, and I like the indentation that goes around there for the boot lid. Boot space, always critical with these sorts of cars. Now, you can either activate it with your foot, which never works for me, so I'm going to do it like that. Power tailgate. And you're met with some practicality. It's dark in here because it's mostly black inside. This is a largely flat entry point. Jeep have made a point of making this nearly flat, and this bit here, not body coloured and expensive, so durable, able to get scratched. 380 litres of boot space, that is, and there is a false floor where you can put your cableage away when you don't want it to be getting in your way and getting annoying. So that's a half decent amount of space, and a 60-40 seat split if you want to drop one of the seats down. The more I look at this, the more I think this is a car actually fit for purpose. Small family car, fully electric, does a really good range, and you can actually park it in a town. Most full-size Jeeps and Land Rovers and Range Rovers, you can't actually fit them anywhere anymore. So this makes sense, to me anyway. Meh. The Avenger then has a 51 kilowatt hour usable battery pack, 54 kilowatt hours in total. And it charges up to 100 kilowatts, which is actually DC, which is actually quite quick. 24 minutes from 20 to 80%, of course, with your CCS that's just there. So it's actually got a really good size battery, but crucially, it's got a decent range. Like I said in the intro, this car is at the moment homologated, awaiting final homologation for about 250 mile range. It could even become more than that. It could be closer to 300, especially for city use, which is really good for a car that's not that big, not by today's standards anyway. I love this front end. I really like these kind of they're not too aggressive. It's quite stocky, isn't it? It's a good looking car, and they've made a point of these lights being quite shallow, but also the grille. There's some design in this grille, so it's fared in because it doesn't need it for cooling like the piston cars. And it's got graphics on it, and I believe you might be able to change the designs available for these. And there's that cheeky little subtle E, which is similar to the one on the boot back there. Oh, and there's that launch edition little Jeep grille down there. I like that motif, that's cool. They are LED headlights because it says it. Jeep Performance LED, it says it inside. Don't take my word for it. Now I always do this, even though it's probably pointless. I'm going to pop the bonnet and I'm going to show you what the first electric Jeep looks like beneath the skin here. It looks like that, which is fairly generic, but you're probably never going to go under here, apart from to put screen wash in it, especially in wintertime, or top up your brake fluid. 400 volts. What I did forget to say with these LED lights is they have a couple of kind of signature light graphics when you lock and unlock it, and it welcomes you and all that stuff, which is happening a lot now, isn't it, with a lot of new cars. But it's a good front end. It might actually be the best looking Jeep they've ever done. Yeah, what do you think? Let me know. Remember, you've got this on sale right next to the Renegade, which will carry on in production. And then you've got really hardcore off-roady things like the Wrangler. I do think Jeep's lineup is sort of a bit more versatile than Land Rover's. Remember, it was the very first off-roader. Don't let Land Rover tell you that they made it first. The Willys was there first. So if you, like me, were as impressed with those little creative design touches on the outside, there's a couple of little Easter eggs inside the Avenger as well. I really like the fabric design of these seats, and it's supposed to simulate a mountain range. And I was just getting into this coloration, this sort of warm tone. Looks like a sort of dawn morning over the mountains. Apparently, for the UK market, this will be shades of grey. Sad face. But what is cool is the main part of the central dash is body coloured, kind of like a satin finish body colour. And it's pleasantly utilitarian and simple in here. And the reason why I say utilitarian, well, it's useful. Jeep has gone, what do people want? They want lots of storage and they want physical buttons. And hey presto, they are taken over from, I'm sure, from other Stellantis models. I reckon something like a Citroen EC4 I've seen. Physical buttons for all the important stuff like heating, fan, volume, great. And then underneath, of course, you've got your buttons to actually operate the car, being an auto, electric, park reverse, neutral, etc. Storage is colossal. I think there's 34 litres of storage collectively in here. So you've got a tray here, which is sort of rubberised, that goes all the way along, and then you've got a really deep well here. And the final version, because this is a prototype, this will have a magnetic cover over it, I believe. Huge well. Inside here is wireless phone charging with a cluster of different USBs for plugging stuff in. And then down there, another really deep well. In fact, it's way deeper. There's another bit around there, which you can fit drinks and stuff in. And then there's another well inside here. It's really impressive, isn't it? And there's another one. Oh yeah, the door inside the doors. Yeah, inside here there's some good sized bins inside the door there. There's a reason, I guess, why it's become 2023 Car of the Year, despite the fact that they're not being delivered to customers until the summer. So it's become Car of the Year before anyone who's actually ordered it has got it yet. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So, yes, it's a Jeep. Yes, it's got all-terrain capabilities, but it is two-wheel drive. It's front motor, two-wheel drive. That probably explains why it's got those kind of cross-climate type tyres on it for grip in all conditions. But it also has something, a drive modes called Select Terrain. And within Select Terrain, you can choose, there's the drive mode button, it's down there. And I can select between mud, snow, sand, sports, or eco modes. So it gives you the choice, and that would be a software difference of things like allowing extra slippage. It also has hill descent control too. And talking of which, I never showed you the departure angles and things like that off-road people want to know. I will put those up on the screen now. The Jeep, I won't call it the Avenger, I'm just going to call it the Jeep for now, because it's jarring with my head. It does have voice control where you say, hey Jeep, and then it'll listen to you and I'm not going to demonstrate it because it never works for me. It might work for you. Do you like voice control? Let me know in the comments. I'm keen to know. The other thing is, I was just thinking, it'd be cool if there was a leather option, and there will be a leather option, even though I prefer fabric. So apart from the first edition, this one, there will subsequently be leather interior with massage seat option, and you'll be able to order it with a glass sunroof, which again is something I quite like. Right, I'm sitting behind myself, and it is quite a tight fit back here, 5-seat car, but headroom wise, it's massive. In fact, it's huge. It's got these big kind of concave shapes, so they've maximised the headroom at the front and the rear. You can really see it's quite a, I don't know if we'll get it on camera, but there's quite a lot of dugouts there available for you. I still can't get my head around the range of this thing. So city range of over 300 miles. WLTP is going to come in about 250. It's really quite good, isn't it? When you compare it to any of its rivals. There's a USB in the back, so the two children can fight over the USB-C, or you just have a longer lead and you use one of the three that you've got at the front. The choice is yours. If you thought that little motif there was a neat touch on the Jeep Avenger, there's more where that came from. Watch this. Bottom corner of the windscreen. Look, it's the silhouette of a little kid looking through a telescope at the stars with a person lying down. Apparently, that's the designer of this car and his son. Look closely and there's some stars. It's pointless, but it's a really neat little design touch. On the inserts for the roof rails, there's an embossed plastic ladybird. Of course there is. So how do I sum this up? Well, first of all, I must mention the price, £36,500 for this, the first edition launch model, which will be limited edition. The subsequent ones will be cheaper. This is going to go down well, I think, in a lot of countries where it makes sense. It's a compelling package with that kind of range, right? It's kind of a shame that it isn't on sale in America, really, especially California. There's one thing that slightly irritates me about it, and it's nothing to do with the design of the car at all. It's just the name. The Avenger, there will only be one Avenger, and it's a Hillman Avenger. It has a special place in my heart. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Late Break Show. If you haven't already subscribed, why not subscribe? Maybe you want to support this channel via Patreon. Typically, you will get videos earlier than the rest of the public, and you get blogs written by me. Thanks for watching. Cheers.